Hi, everybody. My name is Richard.lesperance. I go by the name of my man Richard. Welcome to a better lifestyle. Today, I have the pleasure to have a man of wisdom, and he's doing some great works in the real estate industry and in the business world. So, welcome, Eric, to the podcast.
Great to be here, Richard. Thank you.
Great, it's my pleasure. So, I'm gonna jump in right into it because online I've been seeing a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of lies in regards to entrepreneurship and business and financial freedom. There's a lot of things. There's two words I don't like: fast and what's the other one? I think it's fast and
Easy.
yeah, fast and easy. Those two words I hate.
Yeah.
When I see those two words online, I say, oh boy. So
Yeah, no.
yeah, so I wanna when I stumbled across your video, I said and I heard what you had to say. I said, I hope this person is going to accept my invitation, and you did. So, thanks in advance. So, I'm going to jump in right into the topic. So, what's the truth about entrepreneurship and financial freedom that people are not telling us? Let's start with entrepreneurship.
So, yeah, so in the beginning of being an entrepreneur, there is a grind. I mean, that's what I call it. There's a grind that you have to put in. There's a price to be paid to become an expert at your craft, whatever that is. Um, and so what's not told is the pain of that grind and the price you pay, whether it be, relationships, health. Right. There's very few people that I've ever met that have gone through that grind and not paid very high prices to get through The comparison I can sometimes make is if you're trying to get a spacecraft out into outer space, you're burning 80 to 90% of the fuel just to get it off the ground. It's not once it's off the ground and it's moving, you're not burning as much fuel, right? And the same with your business. Once you become good at what you do, which takes time and it takes repetition, but once you get good at what you do, now you're not burning as much fuel. You don't have to put in as much of a grind. You can start hiring team members. You can start building out a business. So that's one illusion is that I can do it and I don't have to put in the grind. I don't have to become an expert at what I do. I mean, I've just never seen it. I've never one time seen ever somebody create a life that is based on some sort of vision, passion, whether it be their family, whether it be money, whatever that is. I've never seen somebody build that life without putting in that grind. I haven't I haven't met that person yet. The people that don't think they have to put in the grind, they're the ones struggling, right? I hear it all the time. I'll talk to a real estate agent or a mortgage loan officer or a financial planner or a insurance agent, whoever, and they'll say the first thing they want to tell me is, "Oh, I've been doing this 20 years." It's like, okay, 20 years. Wow. So how many deals did you close last month? One. Huh. Okay, no. So first of all, you have not been doing this 20 years. You've been doing this 1 year, 20 times. That's what you've done because you didn't put in the grind, right? You didn't get good at this. You're not good at this. If you're in this 20 years and you closed one deal last month, because here's the math, right? There's 8 hours in a workday. There's 5 work days in a week. There's 21 work days in a month on average. So 21 times 8 is 168 hours. Let me get this straight. You worked 168 hours and you closed one deal. What did you do for 168 hours? Like, what was it? It sure wasn't prospecting. And if it was prospecting, wow, you're bad at it. So how do you put in the grind to get good at what you do? How do you become valuable at what you do? You know, that's that's the misnomer to me. That's what's not being taught.
What about in regards to money, financial freedom?
So first, I would say, what is financial freedom to you? And most people haven't done the math. Right? They don't understand. I hear it all the time. Oh, I've got $300,000 in the bank. I'm going to retire in 2 years. It's like, no, you're not. You might be taking a sabbatical. You might leave the workforce, right? But you're going to come back into the workforce at a very, you know, inappropriate time. That's not enough money to retire at all. And so, what is your ability to understand the mathematics of what financial freedom is for you? And it's a different number for everybody else. Um, and so then you have to factor in inflation, right? So I do a comparison where I take a husband and wife, they're earning $100,000 a year. They've got 24 years to save for retirement, right? A lot of people say, oh, yeah, they can 24 years to save. They're earning $100,000 a year. They can get there. It's like, no, they can't. There's a zero chance. Because $100,000 a year today, 24 years from now, you need $200,000 a year to buy what $100,000 a year buys today based on 3% inflation, right? But okay, you're 62, you retired. There's over 1 million Americans over the age of 100 right now. You're 62. Now with inflation, 24 more years, so you're 86. You have to earn $400,000 a year to buy what $100,000 a year buys today. Later on, when you get close to 100, you have to earn $560,000 a year to buy what $100,000 a year buys today. Like, tell me how much money you have to save to be able to do that, right? And it isn't $300,000. Like, that's not, you're not even in the hemisphere. And so, what are you doing to either get that kind of liquid capital, or are you becoming a landlord? Are you buying real estate, right? Because rent will go up with inflation. Like, what's your strategy for getting there? And if you think it's your savings account, you're delusional. If you think it's your retirement account, your 401k in the United States, or your RRS, what is it?
RSP,
RSP in Canada, right?
Canada, yeah.
Yeah, and so if you think your RSP is going to get you to retirement, you're delusional. There's no chance, zero chance you're getting there with just that strategy. And so, are you sitting down with a financial planner and gauging all of this against inflation? Think of what did you pay for eggs 12 years ago? What are you paying for eggs today? Right? Like that's one easy example of inflation. And so the grind isn't a choice anymore, right? Like you better get into the grind. You better get good at whatever it is that you do, and you better start earning a lot of money doing what you do, or you're going to work until you die.
Speaking about the grind, you were talking in one of the podcasts that you did about Elon Musk, the price
Mhm.
that he had to pay. So talk to us about that for people who don't know his story.
Yeah, look, like the guy, don't like the guy, has he become something else now today? What do you do with the money? Like those are all philosophical discussions, but when you look at the Elon Musks of the world or the Oprah Winfreys of the world, or right, there's a perception of, oh, they got lucky or it was easy for them or whatever. It's like, no. No, 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 no. When Elon Musk, when he started making cars, he would live in the factory. He would fall asleep on the factory floor because he wanted the workers to see his commitment level. Like imagine, right? I'm the CEO of this company, right? We've raised hundreds of millions of dollars to build cars, and I'm sleeping on the factory floor. That's my home. I get in the shower and I come back and I'm putting these cars together because I need you to see how this is done. I'm training you guys. Like people don't understand that's the grind. That's what I'm talking about. Right? He wasn't trusting someone else to figure out how to build the cars because nobody had built these cars before. Right? Like it was the first. You look at Oprah Winfrey when she was first coming up. She wasn't the Oprah Winfrey show. That wasn't her beginning, right? She put in the grind. And the other thing I would say about that is what's your ability to build a team around yourself? People, "Well, I'll do it better. I don't want to hire an assistant, because they won't do it properly and I can't depend on and blah, blah, blah." Do you think Oprah Winfrey did everything by herself? Do you think Elon Musk built everything by himself? No, they learned how to build teams around them and then hold your team accountable, learn how to delegate, learn how to create systems. You know, I talk to salespeople all the time and easy ones are like real estate agents. Like, so when you go on a listing appointment, do you have a set script? Like, is there a absolute set scripts? Like, well, no, it depends on the house. And oh no, I already know you're broke. I already know you're broke. Because what you just announced to me is that you go to listing appointments and you wing it. You're winging it. You should have a set script that works. And if you walk out of a listing and they didn't sign your listing agreement, then change your script. Right? Your script didn't work. But you can't go into those types of things and wing it. Right? If I'm talking to a borrower, there's a set script. If I'm talking to a real estate agent, set script. If I'm talking to a financial planner, set script. Same script over and over and over again. Because it works. They say yes.
Talk to us about the pros and cons of if someone wants to get into business, like if they're choosing the path of starting a business from scratch or buying a business. Let's start with starting from scratch.
Well, starting from scratch is a much bigger grind, right? Because you're trying to get the spaceship off the ground. Um, I would say it depends. I mean, there's a lot of advantages to buying an existing business that's being run poorly. Right? You can buy it on the cheap, implement some good strategies and get it profitable real quick. When you look at the statistics in the United States, Small Business Administration, the SBA, 50% of American businesses go bankrupt in their first 12 months, right? Bankrupt, first 12 months. 80% of businesses in the United States go bankrupt in the first 5 years. And it's all due to lack of knowledge and lack of capital. They can't access the hard times because business is cyclical, right? You'll have ups and downs, and they don't budget accordingly for the downs. They don't budget accordingly for what they think it takes to build this business, and so it goes under. And so buying businesses a lot of times can be a much better decision, depending, right? But then you get into, business owners think their business is worth more than it actually is because emotionally, right, what they put into it emotionally. Well, I'm not buying your emotions. I'm buying your business. I mean, this is a business decision, so take the emotions out of it. It has no bearing.
Now,
But both can be good. I would say it depends on who you are. But if there's an opportunity to buy a business, that can be very advantageous.
now there's two things I wanted to touch. When you start to build from scratch, there's always a number, like sometimes it could take 1 year, 3 years, 5 years for the business to be profitable. So what would you say to that and give advice in
I
regards to that?
I would say the amount of time it takes you to be profitable is dependent on you. What is your commitment level to the grind? Right? Like Elon Musk sleeping on the floor, right? In the manufacturing plant. And so are you if you're going to start being in sales, right? It's different. Like if you're going to start a retail store, that's a different type of business, right? If you're going to start a business by being a salesperson, the easiest thing I can say is find a mentor, somebody who's doing what you want to do, right? If you're a real estate agent doing one deal a month and you want to do 3 deals a month, find a real estate agent who's doing 3 deals a month and do as they do, right? Once you're at 3 deals a month, then find a real estate agent who's doing 6 deals a month, do as they do, you'll get the result. The same applies to any business, right? If an easy way is to just start a franchise and then follow the franchise manual. In my younger days, I was a franchisee. It was a company out of Australia, and my father and I had started the business together. He moved away, and now the business was my responsibility. And I called the franchisor and I said, we're just doing average, like barely average, based on what your projections were. Like, what is it that we're doing wrong? And he was really clear. He said, you're not following the manual. I said, you know what? okay, so I need to follow the manual. Let me dive into the manual. And I took it was a big binder. I took it home and I read it cover to cover that night. And the next day I came in and said, okay, guys, we're not following the manual. I read it last night cover to cover, and here's the changes we're going to make. And the team bought in and we were all good. 6 months later, we were the number one franchisee in the Western Hemisphere out of like 227 locations. And I was up in Regina, Saskatchewan. I was born and raised in Regina, Saskatchewan. That's where we were. So it wasn't like I had this advantage because of my proximity to population, right? I was in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, pretty isolated. And I'm the number one franchisee in the Western Hemisphere. Why? I followed the manual. That was it to the letter. The franchisor from Australia started flying me around to different. They would have meetings with all the master franchisors, and they would march me into the meeting, and I'd answer questions about things that I was doing. I was just following the manual, and the franchisor loved the fact that I wasn't doing anything outside of the manual. Like, look at his numbers, look where he lives, and he's just following the manual. Like, why aren't you guys following the manual? And that's if you talk to any franchisor, the number one pain point they have with the franchisees is the franchisees don't follow the manual. Why? Like, there it is. There's your playbook. Run the playbook. No, my way is like, would you open a McDonald's and then complain because your customers want pizza? No, you're a McDonald's. You sell a Big Mac. Would you like fries with that? Would you like a vanilla shake? Would you like to supersize it? Right? There's a system. Run the system. You don't, your customers want pizza, then open a Pizza Hut. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's fascinating where people get opinions about their success coming from excuses. Because all that is just an excuse. Oh, my market is tough. You don't understand. Real estate here, mortgages here, financial planning here. There's a lot of competition. Your competition sucks. You're just not putting in the grind. You're just not choosing to become good at what you do. You're not learning. That's all.
What about, and the second thing, what about one of the biggest problem is getting access to all the resources, which the number one obstacle for the most part is capital.
Access to capital
So,
for sure.
yeah, so how do people navigate that? Not only just the capital, but sometimes it's time, sometimes it's other resources. So, how do people navigate that and overcome that?
Well, sometimes you can get a loan, right? In the United States, maybe it's an SBA loan. um, so you can be properly capitalized. Sometimes it's doing raising capital, right? You have to go out and raise money from friends and family and people you know, and starting a proper business. A lot of times, depending on what you're doing, you can do it smaller and build yourself organically, right? You don't need to open this grandiose thing that odds are good you don't know how to run anyway, right? Because you haven't put in the grind. And so, like, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever your passion is, my best advice first is learn from somebody who's done what you want to do, right? Find a mentor. I've never not had a mentor ever, right? I've got five or six right now, right? Depending on the area. Like, I might have a mentor that's helping me in my personal life, right? Because right? I don't, right? I'm a guy, so I want advice from a guy. Women are going to give me advice from a woman's standpoint, and that's okay. But I need, you know, a man who has a life, a personal life that I aspire to. He's living it. And so I have that in my life, and so I watch how he maneuvers things, right? It's like, oh, wow, wow, that was masterful. Okay, I don't do it that way. I need to change how I do that, right? Because he's getting a result that I'm not getting. And then from a financial standpoint, having a mentor, right, making money, having a mentor from a health standpoint, right? Like, what do I need to do to become more healthy? With at my age, right, things like peptides and right, like what I need help. It's the doing it on my own is not no not at my age. And so having people in your life that will guide you, but I watch so many people taking advice from people that just aren't qualified. Like you like the person. Okay, I get that. They're nice. I get that. But they're not qualified to give you advice. Right? Like, don't ask me advice about shampoo. Like, that's not, like, I'm not qualified to give you advice on shampoo. Right? I'm bald. Like, what? What are you doing? You know, a woman would never ask my advice about her time of the month. I don't get a time of the month. I don't know. Like, I'm not qualified to give you that advice. Like, what? And so, like, why would you take money advice from somebody who struggles with money? Why would you take marriage advice from somebody who's single? Right? Why would you take, like, why would you do that? And yet I see it all the time. And so find those people that have done what you want to do and listen to them.
What would you say is maybe the number one skill for an entrepreneur, but different skills that entrepreneurs need to master?
Listening. Listening. It's the number one pain point. They don't listen.
What
And
about?
some people call it narcissism, right? And I don't think you can be successful in business without a little bit of narcissism, right? I have some, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, I don't have any narcissistic tendencies." Sure I do. But I'm conscious and aware of them most of the time. Most of the time, sometimes, right, I get caught in situations like, "Ooh, I could have handled that better." But then I go back and I apologize and I say, "You know what? I could have handled that better. Like, please forgive me. Let's work through this together." But entrepreneurs get prideful in my way and what I want is, right? But your team is affected by every decision that you make. And so, what is your ability to listen to your team? Your team's going to give you feedback based on your ability to receive truth. And I got one of my good friends and mentors. I finally got a chance to get him as a business partner. It took me 3 years, right? And finally, the market moved, and there was an opportunity for me to get him as a business partner. I remember going to him saying, "Hey, we're good now, right? You're going to come on board." And he looked at me. He said, "With one condition, yes, with one condition." I said, "Okay, what's the condition?" He said, "You have to shut the company down for 2 days. We're going to sit in a room, all of us, for 2 days, and I'm not going to tell you why." I was like, I can't shut the company down for 2 days. Like, what are you talking about? He says, "Not on a Saturday, Sunday, 2 weekdays in a row. Shut it down. I'm not going to tell you why. You either trust me or you don't." It's like, and I remember this was a pivotal decision in my career, right? This guy was brilliant, like not kind of smart, not above average smart, brilliant. And I was like, this is a condition he's putting on me. So I have a decision here to make, right? I can shut the company down. I have no idea how I'm going to do that. Like, how do I even explain to the team that we're shutting everything down and sitting in a room for 2 days? Like what language is that that's going to get me through that? And I decided I'm going to trust this guy. Right? I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to trust this guy. He's got that much credibility with me. And it was one of the best decisions of my life. Like radically changed everything. But in that 2 days, I learned that my what I thought my access to truth wasn't. Because I would react to truth. Like I wouldn't yell or scream, right? But I was passionate, right? And so people would walk in and give me truth and I would respond to it, right? So they stopped giving me truth, right? They give me pieces of truth. It's like not good. You can't grow like that, right? What's your ability to make sure that you have access to truth from your company, from your team, from your customers? Do your customers feel comfortable giving you truth? Most of the time, not. Does your family feel comfortable giving you truth, right? Or do you react to it? Because if you're reacting to truth, you lose access to truth, and then everything falls apart.
There's another skills they say that most of the time I always hear that the first one is sales, being good at sales. What's your take on that?
Sure. Absolutely. I think most entrepreneurs think they're good at selling, right? Like that's why they became an entrepreneur because I can sell. I don't like I'm good. I hear it all the time. It's like, well, selling is a learned skill though. It's not like some people say, oh, I'm great at sales. Like, no, you're great at listening to yourself talk. Like I know I got that. You love to talk, but that's not selling. Selling is what's your ability to influence or persuade? What's your ability to create something out of nothing? One of my favorite, it's a false story, but it's a good story to me. This guy went to Bill Gates and he said, "Hey, Mr. Gates, I would love to marry your daughter." And Bill Gates said, "I don't know you. Like, why would I let you marry my daughter?" It's like, "Well, I'm about to become the president of the World Bank." Oh, oh, well, if you're going to be president of the World Bank, I'll have that conversation with you. I said, great. So then he calls the CEO of the World Bank. He says, hey, I'd like to be president of the World Bank. The CEO of the World Bank says, why would I make you president of the World Bank? So I'm about to marry Bill Gates' daughter. I said, oh, well, if you're going to be married Bill Gates' daughter, well, then that's creating sales. You created something out of nothing. There was nothing there. That's selling, right? If your phone rings and you facilitate a transaction that was going to happen anyway, that's not selling. You're an order taker. You didn't sell anything. You just facilitated a transaction that was already going to happen. And like if you're a real estate agent, I use that just because I do a lot of business with real estate agents. And you talk to somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a house and oh, I can help you buy a house. And you didn't sell. You're facilitating a transaction. They've already told you they want to buy a house. You're just facilitating it. That's not selling. It's when somebody says, no, I like to rent. I'm never going to buy a house. And then 3 months later, they're buying a house. Now you sold. And so but selling applies to selling your team on what's in it for them to help build the business. Selling your family on what's in it for them to help you be an entrepreneur. Right? We're all salespeople. I don't care what you do for a living. You can work for the government. You're still selling. Right? The question is how much money do you make from it? Are you getting good at it? Are you getting better at it? Are you mastering it as a skill? One of the things that I started learning back in the day was something called neuro linguistic programming, NLP. I went to a Tony Robbins 3-day workshop, changed my life, radically changed my life. My life trajectory went in a very different direction because of that one weekend. And I sat back and I looked, do I want to learn what Tony Robbins teaches or do I want to learn what he learned? And I said, you know what? I want to learn what he learned. Well, he went to a 14-day retreat with Richard Bandler, one of the founders of NLP. And so I just sought out NLP and started learning it. And since I've become a master practitioner at it, but that helped me understand how the brain works. When you're in front of somebody, what are the physiological nuances of being communicating? What's the tonality of what you're communicating? What are the words you're choosing communicating? And so I've learned, just based on certain words that people choose, I know how much money you make,
Mhm.
right? Like there are words that there are thresholds where as you go through these thresholds in your life, your language changes. You evolve, right? And so if you're using these words, I know where your income level is based on the words you're choosing. It has nothing to do with education. Like, so, oh, you're just judging people that aren't educated. No, I don't care if you have an accent. I don't care where you grew up. I don't care what your background is, but none of that matters. There's just words so one example, and I hear it all the time, is a loan officer will call a real estate agent about getting a meeting, and the real estate agent will say, yeah, let's just meet at the Starbucks down the street. Right? That's it. I already know that real estate agent is broke. If a real estate agent has time to meet at a Starbucks, right? If that's what the real estate agent is, then they have no appointments. They're not running a system. When a real estate agent says You know what? My team meeting at the office is Thursday at 10 o'clock. We meet from 10 to 11. I can meet you at 11:15 at my office on Thursday. Now I'm dealing with somebody who's running a system. That's a real estate agent I want to meet with. The realtor who wants to meet you at a Starbucks is so broke they can't buy themselves a coffee and they want you to show up and buy them a coffee, right? And so based on the words you're using, based on the sentences, I can most of the time tell you how much money you're making.
Where can people learn more about you and follow you?
Eric-Mitchell.com, ERIC-MITCHELL.com. All of my information's right there on my page.